MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from TheTechnicalTraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim.
Pretty bumpy ride on the stock markets.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride the last, more or less 2 weeks. We've seen some pretty strong selling repeatedly in the markets, and last week, closed out with a huge bang with two big back-to-back sell-offs in the market, pulling most of the indexes down or very close to their 200-day moving averages, and down to the February lows, more or less, for a potential double bottom. And this type of volatility usually doesn't just dissipate. We usually see some really large price swings for a few days, and I think that's what's going to happen this week. Is we're going to continue to see some pretty wide intraday price swings.
Now, a lot of people are blaming President Trump and his continuing talk about tariffs. But were we not due for this kind of action to happen in the markets? Isn't this what happens when you're near the top?
Yeah, and this is we've seen this happen twice before. It happened just recently, really only in 2015. We had a big crash like this in August, and we had the volatility, and we had a multi-week or about a month-long bounce, very similar to this, and then we went back for a test of that low for a double dip before the markets took off, and it did it again December and January that same year. Same type of price action, and the markets like to test these critical levels, and it's the second dip here, this one we're seeing now, that is really what starts to get people spooked. And on Friday we saw huge people buying put options, expecting the markets to fall, buying downside protection. We saw panic selling on the stock market, and people were just in full-out panic mode, and that's what triggers usually some type of market bottom, is when everyone's panicking out. Once that wave of selling has dissipated, the buying steps in and it takes off and rallies, and that's what we saw yesterday, was a technical oversold, panic sell-off that finally got bought back up, and short covering and all that stuff kicks in and creates that huge rally. And today we had a nice push up this morning, but price is rolling over. It's looking like it wants to go down and potentially make lower lows still below Friday's close and shake things up a bit more. But I am bullish still on the market. I just don't see a big rally really taking place this week. I think we are going to chop around for the rest of the week here.
The controversy surrounding Facebook and the using of personal data for election purposes, that didn't help the NASDAQ, did it?
No, and yeah, Facebook has taken a real beating. And it was up huge this morning. It had a very strong, I was having a strong session considering a gap lower. It rallied right back up, had a big strong morning, but it has sold right back down on heavy volume. It's trading near the lows of the day as we speak. And it's under pressure. And, this is one of those big leading stocks that, once one of the big leaders breaks down in a big way and starts to sell off, it's usually a early warning sign that, the music's about to stop for the stock market. And Facebook can recover from here. We've seen these percentage crashes more or less happen in Facebook before. It happened back in 2015 with the same type of market crash we just saw. Facebook dropped about equivalent percentage-wise. So it's not the end of the world, but yeah, the tech sector in general, because of Facebook, is definitely getting pulled down and hit really hard.
Well, I think maybe the hangover this time will be a little more severe because there's been more publicity, and there's a class action lawsuit, which, as you know, in the States, where you have jury trials, can really suck a lot of money out of your company.
Yeah, it could get very interesting, and this could definitely put in a significant high for Facebook for some time.
And the latest surveys, something like 80% of Facebook users plan to change the way they use it. Only 4% have stopped using Facebook. But they have some kind of a logarithm in there, so when you drop your account, you're still stuck with them for months.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not huge into Facebook. I just keep close family and friends, a very small group, and I don't really go out there on it too much because I've heard all kinds of crazy stories of what they track and follow and find and can dig up on you. So I like to try and keep my life a little bit more separated from the whole social media.
But they have so many other ways to track you that if you drop Facebook, they're doing something else, and Hydro's selling them your usage information, and with smart appliances, they know what time you turn your TV set when you turn on
there's
your
no way
microwave
around
oven.
it. If somebody wants info and they want to know everything about you and what you eat and drink, and they'll get it. There's no way we can hide anymore. So
yeah, and a friend asked, how come Netflix knows when I leave the room it'll pause the program? And I said, because the camera in your TV set has told them there's a motion detector program in it. And so when you leave the room, it knows. It's watching you. Even if it's not watching your picture, it knows about your motion.
Yeah. Well, everybody's loving like the Alexa, which is I think the Amazon
sure, that's a spy
speaker.
in your house.
Yeah, and our friends had it, and their kids love it, and it is cool. It turns your house into like a robot. It kind of feels pretty cool that you can just ask it to do everything. But I mean, it's creepy because it's listening to every single thing you do, and you've got to wonder, like, it'd be super easy for you to say trigger a keyword or like a sentence that they're specifically looking for, and boom, they could be listening to you for a long time, the government or whoever.
Sure, that happened once where a woman was being beaten by her boyfriend. The cops showed up, and it was Alexa who'd called the police.
Really?
Yeah. So they are listening to you. I mean, when you get one of those things, folks, if you said, would you allow your house to be bugged and have the government listen to you 24 hours a day? They'd say no. But you have these computerized devices that are listening to you 24 hours a day. Your TV remote control can do that now. Because you're too lazy to press a button.
And the Nest systems, everything is like voice activated and listening.
And then how many more microwaves are you being exposed to because of that?
Yeah, I ended up buying a really strong wireless router to power the house here, and the guy who was upgrading it from the cable company said, now, just so you know, that thing's probably way above the Canadian limit that it will do permanent damage. And so we plugged it in, and for about a week, I had the worst headaches you could ever imagine. And I started turning it off at night, and you could actually feel almost like the radiation, like you were getting microwave, like the brain. I could feel it dissipate, and by the morning, I'd be somewhat okay. I come back, turn it back on to be on my computer, and you could feel the radiation. We got rid of it. We got rid of it on day 11, got our money back, and went back to this little weak system we have, which feels like I'm not getting microwaved. It's scary how strong that is.
Yeah. Now you have all the new cars have radar sets, so that means microwaves. And so while you're standing on the street, inside the car you might be protected because it's a Faraday cage, but for the pedestrians outside, they're all being bombarded with microwaves.
Right.
No one's taking that into account. And also a new Italian 10-year study finds background radiation from microwaves is a cancer causer.
Huh. Well, what isn't a cancer causer?
Well, I know.
That's the problem.
As I put bacon bits in my eggs this morning, I went, you're putting nitrosamines in your eggs. What are you doing that for?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it tastes, it's the usual, it tastes great.
Everything's better with bacon. Yeah.
Well, and the reason that they promoted bacon was when we put sanctions against Russia several years ago, they stopped buying Canadian and American pork. So the pork producers had a surplus here. All of a sudden you saw all the ads for bacon with everything.
Interesting.
Bacon with your ice cream. There's bacon-flavored vodka, for God's sake.
Jeez, that's
bacon everywhere. We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen when we come back cooking.
Glance Technologies owns and operates Glance Pay, a disruptive mobile payment technology now live in 16 cities in Canada and about to launch in the US. With revenues up 664% in the last quarter, Glance Technologies has the potential to be a worldwide leader in an industry projected to grow to $1.3 trillion in 3 years. Glance Technologies stock symbols are GLNFF in the US and GET in Canada. Find out more at glancepay.com.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, it looks like oil is slowly creeping up again.
Yeah, oil, I think the last time we talked, oil was setting up in this bullish formation, and the momentum, the technical patterns were saying 66 was the next upside target, and we hit that yesterday, which was Monday, hit it again today, and prices kind of rolling over a bit, so it's definitely a key resistance area, and, that was kind of the measured move for crude oil. Now, I don't really have any insight of exactly where it's going. We're going to have to see how it consolidates here, and the next pattern that it forms will give us some insight. But right now, crude oil trading at resistance, but it's at a major resistance, meaning if the dollar slides and breaks down and, say, crude oil can break through this $66 per barrel mark, we could be off to the races to the mid-70s for crude oil, and it will be a major breakout from a major basing formation for crude oil. So it could be the start of something pretty big if we can break through here and hold up.
Well, we are about to go into the summer driving season, so that usually boosts the price of oil, right?
Yeah, well, seasonality, this is a very strong time for both natural gas and for oil to start moving up. So everything's in favor, and we're kind of waiting on what the dollar is going to do. And, the one thing that's giving some mixed signals are the energy stocks in general. The XLE ETF kind of mimics that sector. And the energy stocks are just kind of in limbo. They've been trading sideways for about 2 months, and they're in this tight channel. And the longer something trades sideways, the more power it usually has when it breaks out. So if we see the XLE break out and more or less start trading up above 69, closing above $70 a share, we could be off to the races, and that would be definitely a good warning sign if oil hasn't broken that $66 resistance level yet, because the energy stocks typically lead. So it could give us a good heads up. We'll see which one breaks first. Hopefully it's the energy stocks, because that means there's probably a lot more power behind the breakout. And so definitely keeping your eye on the XLE ETF.
When's Aramco going to do their IPO?
I'm not sure when they're going to do that, to be honest.
And I vote because they were going to put up 5% of their shares for public offering, and the word out was China probably was going to buy all of them.
Yeah.
Or as much as they could.
Yeah.
Any feelings on China getting their futures market trading oil in yuan?
I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. I haven't followed that too closely, so I can't really help you out there.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Rideout Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test numerous targets located by recent groundwork is planned for early 2018. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what kind of action do you expect to see with the precious metals?
Well, precious metals have been they've been holding up really well for a few months. They're trading all. When you look at the longer-term charts, they are all in large basing formations, meaning they've been out of favor for years. They're starting to show some interest, but they're kind of just lingering in this large sideways pattern. And depending on the time frame you're looking at, if we were to look at the daily chart for potentially a trade setup that could last several weeks, we're seeing gold, silver, and miners. They're all trading right up at short-term resistance, just kind of stuck under there. And they had a nice pop in the last week. We saw panic selling in the stock market, and we saw the dollar pull back. So we've seen gold more or less have a nice pop here, but they're stuck under resistance. The long-term picture of gold looks really bullish, but we're going to need to see probably the dollar continue to slide. It's had a nice move down the last 3 days. It's starting to look bearish, and as the dollar falls, we usually see precious metals rise. So if that happens, we're probably going to see the precious metals sector start to break out and have a run. But at this point, it's just been trading more or less sideways and kind of out of favor. There's a lot of money just kind of sitting and watching and waiting for this sector to start to take off, and we're just kind of waiting for a breakout, either to the upside or the downside, before we take the next action.
I wonder why the Canadian dollar has been doing so poorly, considering the price of oil did not do its usual December-January plunge.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing, and I thought the dollar would be the Canadian dollar, the loonie, would be doing much better, but it's struggling down here, surprisingly.
So what happens if crude goes down? Will the Canadian dollar really be a stinker, even if the U.S. dollar is going down as well?
Yeah, if crude oil rolls over, then I think it could be pretty ugly for the loonie. I think we could see it go into a nosedive and really, because it's underperforming dramatically right now. And obviously, if crude falls, it's going to pull it down a lot more. And we could see it back down. Like, I think the dollar, it's at 77 right now. We could see it drop, back down to 70 or so. So a pretty big drop, 10% drop in the currency potentially.
So perhaps the time to stock up on U.S. dollars if you plan to do any summertime cross-border shopping?
Yeah, could be. Yep, could be a good play.
Copper, too, below $3 now. And was that expected?
I don't follow copper all too closely. It was last year in 2016. It was putting in a basing formation. It had a really strong pop right near the end of the year, so it is in a nice uptrend. Right now, it's trading at support. This $3, around the $3, is a critical support area, and at this point, it's still bullish, and it's oversold. But from here on, I would think it's going to probably bounce and continue to move higher. I think commodities are going to do fairly well going forward here. So the fact that it's at support, it's in an uptrend, and it's oversold is a good reason for it to have a bounce and continue to move higher.
Two key minerals for electric car production, cobalt and lithium. What's happening in those spaces?
I haven't followed those. I don't have those on my chart to see what they're at, so I can't help you out there. But I think those markets are going to grow dramatically, especially the lithium market in the future here.
And cobalt pretty well being limited to production from Congo, where they like to add a new tax a day, it seems.
Yeah, I know. There's some real limiting, some real obstacles to get through over there.
Chris, anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think we pretty much wrapped it up. I think the key here, looking forward, 5 trading sessions from now, is expect stocks to be trading in some pretty large daily ranges, big up days, big down days, price gaps. I think the dollar is on the verge of kind of rolling over here, and we could see precious metals pick up favor. But really, I think going into the Easter weekend, it's just going to be kind of choppy this week. Not a lot of real strong trends in play. I think it's just kind of lay low and avoid any big trades during this type of volatility.
Chris, have fun with Easter Bunny.
Hey, thank you.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at HowStreet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for us or our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.